Well, 66 women and children were kidnapped last week by armed assailants in the north of Burkina Faso, and they have been freed. The national broadcaster announced this on Friday. The women and children were kidnapped while looking for food in bushes near the town of Arbinda. Security forces located the 27 women and 39 children during an operation in the adjacent Center North province. The mass kidnapping was unprecedented in Burkina Faso, but the West African nation is battling a rampant insurgency with links to Al-Qaeda and ISIL. Extremists have besieged some towns, making it difficult for people to have access to food and other goods. Well, for more on this, we are joined by Ovigwe Egwegu. He's a policy analyst at the Development Reimagined. Ovigwe specializes in geopolitics with a particular focus on Africa. Sir, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. My question to you is, why have relations between Burkina Faso and France soured?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think at this point it is clear that the frustration that the citizens of Burkina Faso have with France is because the presence of French troops in the country for almost a decade now has not really translated to better security, for the country. As of this moment, about 40% of Burkina Faso territory is controlled by what we call terrorists. Some will call them militias and jihadists and all of that. So it is particularly disturbing for a country to have almost half of its territory outside of the control of the state. And despite the fact of years of presence, about 400 special forces, French special forces have been present in Burkina Faso. Then Burkina Faso is part of the G5 Sahel coalition that is led by France. And despite all of these initiatives, there's still no development. And at this point, I think the people of Burkina Faso and the government there considered France to not be a suitable partner and want to get other partners involved in order to tackle the challenges that they are facing.
Ovigwe, in addition to what you've just said, the decision comes 5 months after France pulled its last remaining troops from Mali after falling out with the Malian authorities. If the French military leave, are the armed forces of Burkina Faso and Mali capable of dealing with the security challenges in their countries?
Well, first of all, I think, yes, of course, there's a pattern to French withdrawals from the continent. Also, you mentioned Mali, but even with after Mali, there's also Central African Republic as well, where in December we saw French troops exit the country or withdraw from the Central African Republic. Overall, some people see this as a consequence of Russian influence and Russian ties with these African countries. However, there's an underlying issue before the presence of Russian support or Russian presence in these countries. They had issues. France was the partner, but France could not deliver despite all of the years of working with them. So I think that needs to be underlined. But however, another important thing to stress is that it is not the case of just replacing one partner with another. You have to do the right things and make the right investments more than just military partnerships. These countries need economic revolution in a sense for them to be able to move away from the kind of poverty and strife that they're facing.
All right, Ovigwe, let's talk about that a little more. Ovigwe, last week we saw the kidnapping of dozens of women and children by militants in Burkina Faso. While kidnappings are not new, it's the first time women and children are being targeted in that country. Why do you think this is the case?
Yes, of course, and it's one of the patterns we also see in West Africa as well. That is also very much the case in Nigeria. Some time ago, you might have heard about the Chibok deaths and all of those type of kidnappings. When terrorist groups when they are feeling really pressured, one of the things they do is they could do some kidnapping for ransom, but sometimes they actually will kidnap women and children and then try to recruit them into their ranks, because of course the women could have certain rules they complete within the groups, and then young boys could be recruited into the movement. So it is quite a good development that the Burkina Faso forces have been able to get these citizens back, because the more you lose territory and the more you lose citizens to these groups, the more protracted this conflict is going to be. But just to buttress the reason why those people were even kidnapped in the first place. They were out looking for food. So it goes to show the desperation of the population. And that is why whenever we're talking about how to address the issues in Burkina Faso, Mali, and across the Sahel, it has to move beyond just military partnerships, but also real tangible economic partnerships that can deliver development for these countries.